Just kidding.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Toilisted Titles. My name is Justin Stevens. I'm your host for tonight's episode. And again, this is one of our special bonus episodes. Not going to air on the podcast, but it's here on YouTube. We have the Broncos episode tonight. And in order to have a good Broncos episode, you obviously have to have good Broncos fans. So I made sure to search Twitter everywhere, far and beyond. I searched deep for as many the best Broncos fans that I could possibly find. So we'll just go around the clock here to my, I believe it's probably to the right on your screen. Linda at Lindellions is a Broncos fan from way back. She's actually a returning guest on the show. She came on our Halloween special. I don't know if you remember that or not, but on our year-end review, we gave you kudos for coming on the Halloween episode. And without telling you that we were going to dress up, we kind of dressed up without you. So
yeah, I was not let in on that, but I this is my first returning spot. So you guys were the first podcast brave enough, besides the open bar pod, to reach back out. So I must have done something right. Right?
You're a Broncos fan.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
left boxes to check this time. Damn. All right.
Well, Linda is with so many different places that I just listed them down there at the bottom. Not going to read them all off, but do you have anything? Because honestly, guys, I'm horrible about my clothes. I hit a certain time limit, and it's like, oh my God, I got to get out. So I always forget. So if you guys have anything that you want to prop up during the introductions, is the time to do it. So Linda, do you have anything that you're working on now that you want to get out there?
I'm just going to take this time to obnoxiously plug the kicker and punter league that I'm doing. And there's a sign-up sheet that I've been retweeting regularly on my Twitter. So you can find it there at Lindellions, which you were close, but I just want to, it's Lindellions. And I have to correct people when they do Lindellions, because then people think I'm a Lions fan. So.
No, I was thinking Dandelions. I thought maybe there was something with that.
I didn't know that when I made every single handle in my entire life that, and now it's too late to back out. So.
All right, I will do my best to remember that, because I'm sure you probably told me that on Halloween, but it is what it is. And if Jamie Byram is watching, he was on our Falcons show yesterday. I'm sure he would love to get in on that Kickers and Punters League. So, and I'm sure he's probably going to be watching this at some point. So, reach out to her. So next to my right bottom corner there, we've got Patrick. Is it Chiotti?
Yeah. Wow. Hey, look at you. That's the first time that anyone's actually gotten it on the first try.
I can't believe I got that right and couldn't get Lindellions.
I'm a math teacher, not an English teacher.
Yeah, it's Chiotti. I get Chiotti, Coyote. I get it all, but you nailed it first try. Kudos.
Well, Patrick, there's always so far with these episodes, these bonus episodes, there's always been at least one guest that has really pushed my 200 minimum character thing for the little intro down at the bottom, and you're the guy this time. So real quick, is there anything that you want to push out for anything that you're working on right now?
Yeah, man. Right now I'm actually going through a draft pick review for the Denver Broncos over at Pigskin Nut. Going to be working on some stuff with the first pick going into the 2022 draft. I know we just got done with 2021, but draft season never ends for us over there. And then just working on stuff with Around the Block as well. New site that's up and coming. We got a lot of stuff in the works. And high school football is starting back up. Support your local high school football team. Send them money. They need it. My kids are really excited. We had a short season this year. It didn't go the way that we wanted to because we only had 2 weeks to prepare, but now we get the whole summer. So we're very excited. We're ready to go, and go Falcons.
Right on. Very good. And then finally, just below me, we have Just A Girl Fallon from Sleeper Wire. And at Sleeper Wire, everybody knows, everybody that watches our show anyway, knows that Sleeper Wire is, it kind of holds something special in my heart because of the Blitz with Dirty Jobs, Mike, who actually came on board with us, but also with George. George Reed is a good friend of mine. We've gotten to know each other.
George.
I love George to death. We've gotten to know.
I love him too, but
Exactly.
Oh my goodness!
With that reaction, you obviously know him too. But I've got your info down there at the bottom. Fallon, is there anything?
I work with George and Jason with the Break from the Grind Charities, which is Toys for Tots fundraiser. One thing I did want to bring up is that Sleepwire Show is working with Eat Sleep Dynasty with Draft Night Out, which is, and I wish I knew the Twitter. I was trying to look it up real quick. The Fantasy Football Expo in Canton, Ohio, which is in August 13th, 14th. Draft Night Out's on the 14th, and the Expo's on the 15th. I know a lot of people are going, and I hope to see you guys there. And if you come in on Friday, you can come to Draft Night Out, which we are hosting, and we're going to have prizes. It's going to be a great time, and you can go to draftnightout.com to get your tickets and sign up.
Are you guys also going to be running some of those live drafts that are going to be happening?
Yeah, we're running the whole thing. We're Sleepwire and Eat Sleep Dynasty.
Eat Sleep Fantasy.
Yeah, they are too. They're working with us. Eat Sleep FF at Eat Sleep FF is also running it with us. Our Twitter page needs to be updated, which is at Draft Night Out. And you can also get us at draftnightout.com. And we're throwing it from 12 till 4 on Saturday, the day before the expo. And we're going to be doing lots of live drafting, food, drink. It's going to be a great time. Prizes, raffles, trivia, and, of course, drafting.
Awesome. I know me and our main host, John, will both be there. So we got a B&B.
We'll come in on Friday.
We're coming in Friday. We'll be there Friday evening.
Nice. Then you can come to Draft Night Out.
I will definitely be looking into all that because I know I'm at least going to be signing up for your live drafts for sure. But
you have to be at Draft Night Out to do that.
Okay. All right. Well, I will be looking that up as soon as we get off here.
Right on. I can give you more information, but I wanted to put that out there for other people who's going to the Fantasy Football Expo that the day before, make a great weekend of it, and come join us at Draft Night Out.
Awesome. Appreciate that, Fallon. Okay. So this is the Broncos episode, the Broncos Offseason breakdown episode, where we're going to be talking about the draft or maybe we're talking about free agency. I don't know what these guys want to talk about, and I'm going to pretty much leave it up to them for the most part. I do want to let everybody know I am not a Broncos fan, all right? I am a Peyton Manning fan, but this is the Broncos show, so I laid it all out. When they won the Super Bowl,
Were
I
you
was
at least a
Broncos.
Okay, that's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Were you a Broncos fan when Manning played with us?
I was. You guys had me for a few years, but I'm back. I'm back home where I belong, and I didn't stop rooting for the Colts. Don't get me wrong. It's just the Broncos were my second team for a while. But after Manning left, I went back to the Packers being my second team. So, but anyhow. Here we are. It's been long anticipated. I had to start scheduling these way in advance. You guys have been so patient with me with everything with that. So I greatly appreciate you guys and your time. I'm going to get this started off with you, Fallon, because you and I have had a lot of back and forth over this whole Aaron Rodgers thing. With Aaron Rodgers, is he going to get traded to the Broncos? And you had this crazy, it seemed crazy at the time, but it's actually a pretty interesting idea when it came to something about a certain, like June 12th, I believe was the date you said or something. And
all right.
and
well, first of all,
go ahead.
I know what we talked about. Okay. So first of all, I'm sorry for interrupting.
No.
My brother made sure I was not emotionally attached to this show. Because being a Bronco fan is in my DNA. I went to my first game when I was 4. My father got us season tickets in 1963. Our priority number is about 2,300, which means only 2,300 people ever got season tickets before us. My grandfather actually helped save the Broncos from leaving Denver when we went through another round of season ticket sales because they couldn't afford to be here, and he bought 150 tickets that helped save them and gave them away if he bought a car from us. And we were so bad back then he couldn't give away the tickets, so it's definitely in my DNA. I couldn't imagine being a fan of anyone else, so that's why I'm going to be very objective and have my notes. So here's the thing with Aaron Rodgers. I still believe there's a chance, and I don't want to spend too much time because it's speculation. He's not happy in Green Bay. So Green Bay, if he retires, they might get some of their money back after litigation. Who knows? But June 2nd is when the draft. I mean the
dead cap.
His cap hit. Thank you.
Yeah.
It cuts in half.
Yeah.
So if they decide to trade Aaron Rodgers, at least they will get something. Now, at first, I thought this was all speculation until I'm hearing this on, the Denver Fan, which is our radio station, when I'm hearing it on 9 News, which is our television station, when I'm reading it in the Denver Post, and reading it in like USA Today. So there still might be some truth to this. What is being speculated is that what it would cost us would be likely a first round and a third round and a first in the next 2 years, and a positional player like Fant, Chubb, or Hamler or Sutton, which is a high price to pay, but we do have some great players. I still think there's a chance that it can happen, because who wants an unhappy player on their team? And then just a couple days yesterday, actually, they signed Bortles. So Love was supposed to be their backup. Now they signed Bortles. I don't know. And I don't want to spend too much time speculating, because I think it would be fantastic if he came. And I'll be jumping in joy because we have a chance for another Super Bowl. But however, I love Locke. And I can tell you why in a minute. But I wanted everyone else's feedback on Rodgers before I went any further. But that's where I don't want to speculate too much, but I think there is a lot of possibility it could happen.
How ironic would it be if the Packers traded Aaron Rodgers to the Broncos, but had to trade away some of the weapons back to the Packers? Then he wouldn't have weapons that he needs in Denver.
Didn't you just say that now the Packers are also your second team, like you're back to that?
Oh, yeah, but I absolutely hate what the Packers have done to Aaron Rodgers.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying
I would love
it would be ironic if your 2 favorite teams traded their franchise quarterbacks to the Denver Broncos.
Well, if this happens, I'm back to being a Broncos fan as myself.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Until
it would be one player. It'd be like one player is what I'm hearing. And
you're on the right path. So the 3 firsts is a given. That's going to be baseline. The reality that we're looking at is 3 firsts, a second, possibly a 4th. And where you get into the players, that's where we get tricky, right? Because a lot of people have been talking about, well, send Pat Surtain. No, it's not going to happen. That would be a $28 million cap hit on the Denver Broncos. They're not going to do that. Sutton, they're not going to send Sutton. The Packers are going to have to. They're going to choose realistically. I mean, they're going to offer something to Davante Adams, whether he takes that or not. Who knows? But Sutton is the guy that George Payton wants to be the wide receiver 1 for the Denver Broncos for the future. So he's not going anywhere. Realistically, the receivers that you're looking at as being part of that deal are Tim Patrick and KJ Hamler. Those are the 2 guys that have been mentioned and talked about for like. Jerry Jeudy isn't going anywhere either. He's going to stay in Denver. If that was the case, if they were looking to move on from him, he would have been a Detroit Lion. Drew Lock would have been a Detroit Lion, and Matt Stafford would be the Denver Broncos quarterback. I think when it comes to Aaron Rodgers and this trade specifically, a lot of people have been talking about sending Drew Lock as a part of that deal. That's also not going to happen. If anything, the quarterback that would be sent would be Teddy Bridgewater. He's a veteran quarterback. He's a bridge quarterback. No pun intended. But he would be the perfect candidate for them to take. He's a serviceable veteran. He might develop chemistry with Davante Adams and get him to stay in Green Bay long term. And it also gives them a little more time with Jordan Love being on the bench. I think that if that is the deal that they send out, 3 firsts, maybe 2 firsts and 2 seconds and a 4th, and Bridgewater, and Hamler, I think there's no way that you don't pull the trigger on that. There's been talks about Bradley Chubb being possibly a part of that deal as well. I think that would be a bad move. It's sending Chubb or Draymond Jones. It wouldn't make sense, right? They may ask for a young cornerback, so maybe Michael Ojemudia is in there as well. But I really think that it would come down to Bridgewater and Hamler being those two guys. They need wide receivers. They'll need a bridge quarterback. I think that it makes total sense. It also makes sense for the Broncos bringing in Aaron Rodgers and keeping Drew Lock, because now you have Lock learning under Aaron Rodgers, which that would be fantastic for Lock's development during the next 2-3 seasons, however long.
That's what we missed with Manning. We didn't have a plan B when we had Manning, and other than Brock, who was too. Don't get me started on Brock, but
that situation was sticky.
Yeah, we don't
I
even.
was all in on Trevor Siemian. I'm just saying. I have the jersey. I was ready to commit, and he's probably been not probably. He's been the best quarterback we've had since Manning in terms of like win percentage.
Yeah,
I'm just saying. One time I saw Trevor Siemian wear Birkenstocks and socks, and now I wear Birkenstocks and socks. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, we all had hopes for Paxton Lynch, right? And that just that was. It's been hard. Finding a quarterback is not.
I don't know, man. You guys have wide receivers playing quarterback over there.
Oh, don't even get me started on that. Come on.
9.
Dude, 9. That's a low blow.
9 quarterbacks since Manning retired. And here's what I believe about Locke. I think he's one of the most talented quarterbacks that we've had since Elway. He is just getting judged after basically one season. He's played 18 games, which is the equivalent of the season. Manning, this was the stat I was going to tell you about Manning. Manning's rookie year, he threw the most interceptions than any other rookie or anybody else that year. Elway, I remember my father throwing things at the TV, telling him he should go play baseball. And he lined up behind a guard his rookie year. So, you know what? Let the guys figure it out. He has got a lot of talent. He needs a great offensive coordinator and a quarterback coach. Because LA, if you look at LA, he dropped when Shanahan went to the Raiders. And we're actually keeping our offensive coordinator 2 years in a row. That's the first time in 5 years we've done that. We haven't had a consistent coaching staff. Elway came into that. Manning didn't come into that.
Well, Manning had a couple of offensive coordinators as well. Granted, he is Peyton Manning, so
I think he was his own offensive coordinator. He was training the OCs.
He was most of his career in Indy too.
Yeah, he had Gase, and we all know how that turned out. And then he had Kubiak basically running the offense as well. So, but we did see a big change when Kubiak took over. So that was kind of towards the end with the decline. But you make a great point. Having consistent offensive coordinator, having consistent coaching is only beneficial. We look at the last time that Locke had the same offensive coordinator for 2 years in a row. It was in Missouri, going from his
2017.
His sophomore to his junior season. What happened in that second consecutive year? Oh, not much. He just broke the SEC passing touchdown record with a bunch of nobodies. He had 2 players on that team that ended up getting drafted into the NFL. Both of them were 4th-round picks. One of them is currently on the Denver Broncos roster right now, Albert Okwuegbunam. So consistency is huge. It's big in every position, really. We look at what happened with quarterbacks like Josh Allen. Granted, Josh Allen is the anomaly, right? He's the one guy that made the big jump. Well, it's weird what happens when you wait for quarterbacks to actually develop into the NFL. Not all of them come out guns a-blazing and just throw 50 touchdowns in a season and get you to a Super Bowl like Patrick Mahomes did in his first season starting, which was actually his second season in the NFL. So if you give Locke the time in the same system with the same weapons, which a lot of those guys were rookies last year too, this could be a big year for Drew Lock. I agree with you. I think that Drew Lock is very talented. He's got physical tools. He does have things that he needs to work on. He needs to be a better decision maker. He needs to have better footwork in the pocket, but he's able to get out of the pocket. He's able to move. He's able to create plays while on the run. He just needs to be better about some of those decisions that he makes while he's moving outside of the pocket. Love his arm talent. I love the potential that is there. I wish people would give him that time. And I hope that going into the second season with Pat Shurmur, that he can actually showcase his talent and lead the offense to be productive on the field and help the defense win games.
You have to assume that. I have to say something.
Go ahead. You're steaming.
You're like blowing up over there.
I love Drew Lock. I want Drew Lock to succeed. I want every player that gets shit on by the entire everybody to do well. Like I love that middle finger to the collective. But on like decision making, you can only assume that gets better once you're in the same system for a second year and you know those plays. He did so well in that fast tempo, like not having to think about it offense that you know he has it in him, but like to expect him to learn something new every single year and be like, I'll figure it out. And also do it without your wide receiver one, do it without your tight end one half the season, do it without your tight end two the other half of the season, do it without some offensive line. Like
4 right tackles. I mean,
and while we have COVID.
And no preseason for your rookies. Like there's just so I think people like some guy on Twitter was telling me like, oh, he was the worst in this and this. And I was like, last season, when his number one wide receiver was Tim Patrick, the undrafted free agent that the fantasy football community shits on every single chance they get. Like,
I mean, look, he statistically and based on those metrics, he was ranked in the bottom of the league. And a lot of people like to bring up, well, Joe Burrow wasn't in the bottom of the league in those metrics. Justin Herbert wasn't in the different offenses, different schemes, and that's just how it happens. Some guys get it and some guys don't. And I think that, last year with Locke, not having the preseason, that sucked because the on-field reps are very important for quarterbacks, wide receivers, tight ends, and all that. You had 2 rookie wide receivers and you lost your best one in Cortland Sutton. Give me a break. Like this is going to be a crucial year for Locke. I think if he continues to struggle and he continues to just not get it, I think the team moves on next season. If they trade for Aaron Rodgers, I mean, Locke's taking a back seat there, but that's going to be good for him. I think either way, this year is going to be great for Drew Lock, whether it's with the Broncos or whether it's with another team down the road. I really hope that he gets it because he's a lot of fun. When he's on fire, he's a lot of fun. Imagine what he could have done at Missouri with guys who were actually first-round talents, like guys at Alabama. Imagine what he could have done. Instead, he had a bunch of guys who never made it into the NFL, except for Alberto and one other guy. So, yeah, and
he still broke records. So I'm a big Lock believer with or without Rodgers. If he has Rodgers, great. Let's mentor him and give the guy a break. And Fangio, I'm excited about him. He's just making a few mistakes because he's a new head coach. The only thing he really needs to work on and he sucks at is his 2-minute what he does in the last 2 minutes of the game. It's like Jesus. So
I mean that it's one of the toughest things in coaching. It really is knowing those situations, and that is something that he needs to get better at. You coming over from a DC role, not ever being a head coach, and you're ancient. Granted, Pete Carroll's older than him, and somehow I don't know what kind of vampire blood he's drinking, but Vic Fangio does have that learning curve still, and I think that this is a crucial year for Fangio. I think if they come out of the gate slow. And they lose a few games, we might be talking about Vic being on the hot seat, which is really unfortunate because even with all the injuries last season, that defense was one of the best units in the league, and they only got better this offseason. So,
and what you say there makes a big point is that the first time since 2011, we have an second time since 2011, our first game is an away game. And I cannot remember how long it's been since our first 2 games were away games.
Right.
Bolin pulled a lot of, whatever it is, this is juice to make sure we got because it really, the best bet in Vegas is a Broncos home game first week because the training camps aren't what they used to be. They wear pads for an hour, maybe. It's not a real training. It's like the first game out there is when they're really playing football, and you come out to high elevation, they suck. And that's why we win consistently, other than last year when we lost to the Bears, but that's okay. Yeah. So I'm really disappointed that when I saw the season, I'm like, oh man, our first 2 weeks are on the road. At least it's the Giants in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I mean, hey, those teams, the Giants had a sneaky good defense last season. They were one of the more underrated defensive units in the league. It was a very similar situation to the Broncos. They had a pretty good defense, but an offense that just couldn't get it going. And then I'm excited to see what Trevor Lawrence, Vic Fangio loves rookie quarterbacks because he loves to put them in a blender. And I would love to see Trevor Lawrence just absolutely see ghosts against.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, because you know that Pat Surtain is looking to get, he's looking to get that interception on Trevor Lawrence. Granted, who knows what kind of offense they're going to be running there. Tim Tebow is probably going to get a couple tight end sweeps, maybe a double pass. Who knows? But
I think I blocked out the Tim Tebow thing that happened. I think I just was like, no, I can't right now. I compartmentalized it.
I'm very excited to see how this Broncos defense does. I'm happy that Von Miller's back. This is going to be huge. It's going to be a great season for them. Getting Kyle Fuller, getting Ronald Darby for relatively good value, and still
we got great value.
Bryce Callahan's still there. I mean, this is a secondary that is scary good. I'm
excited about Baron Browning. That guy lifts trees up. I mean,
yeah. That's Quinn Miners. Yeah, Quinn Miners was the one that same thing. He's going to push Lloyd.
That's what I meant. Quinn Miners. Yeah.
Yeah. He's going to push Lloyd Cushenberry for that starting center job. And he's going to be a lot of fun to watch. He's already one of my favorite players in the league.
Yeah, he's like this. He was like the second best offensive player in the whole draft, and we got him the third round.
Yep.
So it's great value. I'm excited about Pat, and it brought fresh blood because Elway sucked as a GM, and he did that. Well, and very few players actually are good GMs because they're so competitive. It was like Elway brought his on-field competition into negotiation with players, which you don't want to do because he kept wanting to win, and we lost some great players on that. The only player to actually transition from player to GM is the Browns tight end, Ozzie Newsome. Yeah, and he's and Michael Jordan sucked too, so it's not just Elway, not just in the football, but it's just it's a hard transition to go that competition, and transition into working with the players. So I'm excited about the new GM.
Peyton was a great hire. I think that he was the scouting background is fantastic, especially when it comes to player evaluation during the draft, during free agency. He was aggressive in getting his guys, the guys that he, really wanted and did a good job, I think, of building for the future in this draft. Speaking on to John Elway as a GM, I think his success early on in being able to draft certain guys, Von Miller kind of fell into his lap there at 2, which that's fine. It's still one of the best draft picks in Broncos history. But his ability to draw in Peyton Manning as a free agent, it had that domino effect, right? You get Peyton Manning, you get Emmanuel Sanders, you get guys like DeMarcus Ware and all these free agents that come in, TJ Ward, Aqib Talib, Darian Stewart. I mean, those were all great gets for him in his career. 10 seasons as a GM, got to 2 Super Bowls, won 1, consistent division, consistent in winning the division, getting to the playoffs. He did good early on, but he it really started to show. And some of the things that I've heard, some of the rumblings that I've heard from certain guys in media, Elway just wasn't great at evaluating players. And it's not so much like it's just hard. Like it is hard to evaluate players, but there's guys in this business that are really good at it, and he just wasn't one of them. George Paton is very good at evaluating players on and off the field. There's a reason that he didn't take Justin Fields at 9. There's a big reason. Mm-hmm. And we probably won't know, but there is a reason that he didn't take him at 9. And
isn't he the one who had the 2 DUIs? And
no, that was Mac Jones.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's
one
the
DUI,
New England.
One DUI, false ID. Yeah, we'll go. You know,
he's a great fit for a Bill Belichick team.
Oh yeah, fantastic fit.
You know,
I think that George Paton is doing a great job at bringing in the culture, keeping guys like Justin Simmons on this team. Huge for the culture, huge in the locker room. Keep being able to decline Kareem Jackson's option and then still manage to bring him back for a less expensive deal. Big brain moves. Paton is doing a fantastic job. Love him. He's fantastic.
The video of him on draft night where he was like, "Oh, somebody's offering me more," and like hung up. I was like, "I love him. He can do whatever he wants. I'm on board. Like I'm all in." It was fantastic.
He made a couple of picks that were really head shakers for a lot of people. Not getting an offensive tackle in this class is probably going to go down as one of those moves where it's just like, what were you thinking? Granted, it was before Juwan James got hurt, so we can kind of give him some grace there. But even just today, he signed 2 offensive tackles for a total of $8 million. I think it's about $8 million. Two offensive tackles, veteran guys, for $8 million, where there was one guy that they were looking at that wanted $8 million himself. So I think that he's making smart decisions. I think that he's taking this football team in a good path. And I think that it's really going to turn things around for the Broncos going forward. If he can land Aaron Rodgers, you might as well just put him in the Ring of Fame right now.
Exactly. One thing I got to say that is an important thing that Bronco fans, I believe, need to recognize. We've been spoiled, from 1985 to 2015, since Pat Bowlen bought the team. We had the winningest record in the NFL. We were whining that that we're in rebuild or all that because we haven't been to a playoff game in 5 years. When there's teams like, let's say, Kansas City until 2 years ago and got Mahomes, it's been 50 years since they won a Super Bowl. You can say what you want to about Reeves, but he took us to 3. We might have lost. Got Elway. Elway went to his first one 3 years after he started. And we have been winning and going to playoffs and doing great. And we're spoiled as fans. And what these last 5 years has got to do is make us appreciate more how good we got it. That's just like my last point I wanted to point out is that,
Love it.
Well,
and I'm a diehard fan. It's in my DNA, baby. I'm sitting right there on the opponent's side, so close that I can talk to Phillip Rivers and tell him, I can't anymore, but tell him how much he sucks each game, because I sit 4 rows from the opposing bench. It's nice he hears from me twice. Well, he heard from me once a year for many years.
This has been exactly what I was looking for whenever I wanted to bring on some fans for the Broncos. I want to bring on some people that would love to talk about their team. You guys just carried on for a half hour, and I didn't have to say a word. But I do want to interject. I want to interject one thing and then ask one last question if you guys could answer it quickly. The thing I want to interject is I want to go back to the Pete Carroll thing. When you mentioned something about the vampire blood, you don't have to worry about him dying for a very long time because he stocked up on the vampire blood when he was at USC and he could get the boosters to pay for it. He has a huge amount of vampire blood ready to go. Now, the last question I want to ask you guys is something I'm asking at the end of all of these as a fan, okay? Not as an analyst, not as a fantasy football player, but as a fan. And I'm going to start with you, Linda, and we'll work our way around the other way.
Okay.
I want to know, it's a simple question, but I want to know in your mind, what would be considered with this team, being that we don't know what's up in the air with the quarterback situation, kind of a young team. Well, in your mind, what would be a successful season and what would be considered just a horrible season where you're going to be ashamed to be a Broncos fan?
First of all, I'm never ashamed. I know this is supposed to be rapid fire, but I've never done anything quickly in my life. So, listen, just a season where we come out over 0.5 in wins. You know, you want to be batting above average. I'd like to be more than, like, I think, 17 games?
Yeah.
10 wins. I think that makes Broncos country pretty happy. I think we can do better than that, even with Drew Lock.
And with 7 teams in the playoffs, you might even make the playoffs at 10 wins, right?
Yeah, there's a good chance. You're probably a wild card team with 10 wins. Honestly,
I think 10 wins would be a victorious season after.
Well, what about a bad season?
Oh. Another losing season, like another season where we get like when we beat the Jets and I go like, whew, boy, that was a close one. Yeah. That would be bad. I don't want that.
I think a good season, like Linda said, 10 wins is probably, your benchmark. That puts you at 10-7. I think that this defensive unit is going to be one of the best in the league, probably a top 5 defense. If the offense can get anywhere from 15th to 12th in the league, I think you're probably looking at, honestly, like 10 to maybe maxing out at 12 wins. They do. This is one of the first years too in recent history that they haven't had like one of the toughest schedules, one of the toughest strength of schedule. I think for the last 3 or so years they've been in the top 5. And they're actually in the bottom, I believe in the bottom 5 or bottom 3 for strength of schedule. So if there's any time to strike, now is the time. Oh, and a bad season.
I'm about to get real mouthy about the Broncos now.
A bad season, like Linda said, a losing season or missing the playoffs. I think even if they don't get in, if they go 9-8 and don't get in, I think that you're probably still talking about Vic Fangio being fired and all this and that. But I think if we have another 7-10 season or 8-9 season, because you can't go 8-8 anymore, Jeff Fisher. I think that is a big disappointment, especially with this defense.
Gotcha. Fallon?
Well, my bar is a little bit lower because, again, I'm going back to appreciating what we've had. So a success would be a couple things combined. I'm okay with 9 and 8 because we are above the winning mark. You guys have to go to 10, but I'm okay with 9 as long as we beat the Raiders. And
there you go.
As long as we go 2-0 against all the division rivals, we're good.
I don't mind. I'm not a hater of Kansas City, and I used to be of the Chargers because I've never hated a player more than Phillip Rivers. That guy. People who know me, ask George about how I feel about Phillip Rivers. I can't. I even have a bet in one of my leagues who picked up a really bad playoff team that I have to say something publicly nice about Phillip Rivers if he turns that league into a championship or that team into a championship team in 2 years. So I'm really hoping I don't have to say that. But anyways,
as a Colts fan, it was absolutely disgraceful to watch him in a Colts uniform every freaking week. It was.
I had to hate the Colts for a week. I had it for a year.
He flipped off the fans in Indianapolis.
Did he really?
Yes, when he was in the Chargers.
So he says frick, but he can
during a playoff game. It was at the end of the playoff game. He doesn't swear,
but he'll flip off.
When he was down to us in the fourth quarter, and then he got hurt, and Billy freaking Voles came in and lit us up in the last 2 drives and beat us. Billy Voles beat us. He flipped off our fans on the way into the locker room, and they still signed his ass. I was so pissed. So pissed. I still rooted for my Colts to win last season, but I knew that was not the signing. I knew he had lost.
Yeah. See, I've hated the Chargers for so long because of Phillip Rivers, but I don't really hate the Chargers, and I don't really hate Kansas City, but the Raiders, and Mark Davis is a dweeb, but it goes back to Al Davis. I'm older than a lot of you guys are, and I remember a lot of those Al Davis days. I mean, my first game, I was 4 years old in 1977 when I went with my daddy to the first game, and it was and I remember a lot of stuff he did and what he did to Shanahan. It made it, what he did to Shanahan when Shanahan came back to us, made it so much more fun to play the Raiders. But still, fuck the Raiders. And I'm happy if we go 2-0 against the Raiders. So, you know, even one of my friends is a Raiders, like, I don't care if this back if it was 0-16 or whatever it is. I don't care if we go 2-14, 15, whatever it is, as long as we beat the Raiders.
Guys, this is one of our new Toilets to Titles team members, Rich Gonzalez. He's a huge Raider fan, so I'm sure he is hating this episode right now. But that's why we gotta
get Dirty Jobs. I need Dirty Jobs on my side now because I know he feels the way I do about the Raiders.
Right on.
So that's a win, and if we lose to the Raiders, that's a loss for me.
That was entertaining. All right, very good. Well, real quick, just some quick housekeeping, guys. I want to make sure that I get the Twitter handle out there because I forgot to do it at the beginning because I'm absolutely horrible at this shit. But at Toilets to Titles. Please follow us on Twitter, and then also don't forget to hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Ring the little bell or whatever it is that the kids say these days, and help get our subscribes up there. I don't know. It's kind of hard for me to beg for people to give us stuff, but that's all I'm asking for. So, but again, a really huge thank you to all of our guests here. Again. Just a Girl Fallon. I've seen you on certain shows, or well, actually not seen you. I've heard you on podcasts before, but this is the first time we've had a chance to talk. So it's been awesome meeting you. And you've had such a horrible day from your second COVID shot to a witness of an accident before we came on, and people didn't get to see the technical difficulties right before the show. Like, I feel so bad. So I hope that we were able to end your day with a little bit of a smile, and hopefully
you did. So did this. My crown.
There you go. There you go. Patrick, same to you. We've never met before, but you're a high school football coach, so you can't be all bad. But the fact that you're willing to take a little extra time out of your busy schedule, because you know this is a busy time to schedule for guys like us and doing what we do. So I really appreciate you. And then obviously Linda, second time on the show. So like you said before the show, you must have done something right. But we are a big fan of yours as well. So you'll definitely be back on the show. Maybe next time we'll have you on the Halloween special again and let you dress up as well. So
yeah, I need to know in advance if I need a costume.
You can dress up as Pete Carroll. I mean, a vampire. So so again, thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate your time and have a great evening.